academic language and higher order skills. Take a minute now before we move into this module and think about something without using language. Not a thought. You cannot possibly think without language. And that is why, since academic language is used to express certain features of our knowledge which are analytically more dense, it is argued that academic language enables that kind of thinking and is extremely important. So, the relationship of the academic language is with abstract thinking. What do we mean by abstract thinking? So, abstract thinking would mean not just somebody has committed suicide and how did it all happen? This is real life, real context things. But why do people commit suicides? Why do things happen that way? What are the patterns that you can see across the cross-country data in terms of suicide? So what are the general populations that are more vulnerable to this tragic end? So all those abstract thinking has to happen in a language, and the language has to be standardized to perform that kind of function. We need a language to analyze deductively and inductively and to think that way. So you need to look at things, different examples of a thing and come to a general theory. And you need to look at this theoretical concept and see whether it applies or does not apply to a specific context, and why does it not? So the relationship between us and the social world and our understanding of it revolves around discerning or finding patterns of behavior. In discerning those patterns of behavior and labeling them, like Cummins labeled kelp, this kind of variety, it was through his labeling that he was able to sort of like pinpoint the differences more clearly, because he identified certain kind of patterns in one type of language use in comparison with the other. Remember, education is all about theoretical concepts and scientific concepts to be talked about and to be sort of like to be actually taught. So this is what education is about. Yes, it does teach us about our socio-cultural context. It is embedded in our socio-cultural context, its values, but it is more interested in actually helping us understand something deeper, in asking things which are more intellectually dense. And that is why academic language is sort of standardized in a way, or certain vocabulary is added to it in a way that it enables higher order skills. And it is all about enabling us to talk about things and relate to things that we might not have actually witnessed physically or otherwise. So we are talking about critical thinking over here, analysis over here. We are talking about also registers specific to different disciplines. Now, as academics, you would have realized as you're reading research, you need to come across certain constructs. You need to see, for instance, if you talk about collaborative metacognition. Now, when you read research around it, you need to be sure that what one person means by collaborative metacognition, somebody else also means the same. And even if they don't mean the same, you would need to know what exactly do they mean by it, because only once we are clear about the basic constructs, then only we can talk about what comes next or how it can be improved. Another example, think about communicative methodology in language teaching, for instance. You need to know that you're clear about what do we mean about communicative method of teaching. Now, it is the language or the academic language that has enabled us to differentiate between one type of language teaching methodology from another type, and talk about it in a decontextualized way. So when we talk about communicative language teaching, we say these are its features and this is how it helps. And then you're not talking about specific context, you're talking about theoretical concepts over there. However, having said that, this does not mean that this BICS or the conversational English or the languaging that is done by teachers and students outside schools has to be completely taken off the course, because that would be detrimental to our achieving of the academic language itself.